Welcome to Outlaw Radio. This is actually a redo. We tried to do this the other night. I was having some severe technical difficulties, so welcome to the show. It's your man, 50 Grand Kevin Barnes. I'm in the building with my homeboy, my co-conspirator, my co-host, Mr. Carter. What's popping with you, my brother?
Life is what's popping. How everybody doing out there? Welcome to Outlaw Radio, where we talk that talk and we definitely gonna walk that walk. Raise the vibrations and elevate thought. Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you, I am the black woman lover, the black man's brother, the culture teacher, hood healer, the ghetto witch doctor, your holistic health and wellness coach, Mr. Kamar Carter. Peace to the family. I'm also the one who brings you Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements. Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements. You can find that on Facebook, Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements. Or you go to my health page and ask somebody about Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements. Or you go to my page, inbox me, and I'm going to tell you all about Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements. Or you could just call me, 414-949-2122. Let's put a package together for you, family. Let's get it. Oh, yeah. I got something big coming up, y'all. Monday, Meatless Mondays. Meatless Mondays, me and the high frequency Seth, Tasha James will be in the building down there at the Taste on 35th and Capitol, man. Y'all make sure y'all come on down. It's a great way to start the new year on your wellness journey. Come on down with some vegan food. Come on, holla at us. I'm telling you, this is lasagna she making. You will not know no difference. You will not know it's a difference, I promise you. Y'all got to come on down and check us out.
So we always big up black businesses, and we hope if you're doing something positive or progressive, you will kind of ride with us and get with what we do. Reach out to us. The number's on the bottom of the screen. The Cash App is on the bottom of the screen. 262-202-5131 is Outlaw Radio the whole damn year. A 2021 retrospective. Of course, we have to look back before we move forward. I do want to start the show off by saying I lost one of my family members last night, and I just kind of want to offer up some prayers for my own family and some condolences. One of my OG cousins, one of my real live cousins, my brother Johnny Anderson, Johnny Anderson Jr., Lil Flip, my man, what can I say? If you're in our family, you know who he is and what he was and how he got down. And I don't know the details yet. I just found out today. Shout out to my cousin Kenya Anderson. It's her brother. People leave, man, and this is the part of the life we're in where we lose. We lose people. That's why it's so important to be real with a person and really acknowledge them for what they do for you and what they mean to you while they are here. So it's Outlaw Radio, man. A whole damn year, Kamar. We made it. Almost, right? I don't want to, knock on wood. We've made it to this point. If somebody out there has, something that they want to add to the show, you can call in. Of course, that number is always active. Our chat room is active. I see the people in the chat room. If you feel like some of the things we talk about here on the show are pertinent and relevant, please chime in. We try to make this as interactive as possible. We're live on our YouTube page, so make sure you tune in for that. We're live on Twitter, actually, and we're live here on Facebook. I'm still waiting on the website to come through, trying to connect the dots on that. So, no doubt, Chantel Gwen and T.R. Arthur. Hey, this is part of it. I'm an old man, so I know, people leave. It's just sad because I just, I hadn't talked to cousin in a minute, but, this is one of the cousins that, like I said, we're always tight. No matter where we are, I got some cousins, a group of cousins that are like peers. Or as Mac Mall, who's just on the show last week, would call them cuddies, cousins and buddies, right? Shout out to Mac Mall, who was on the show. Check that show out, man. I thought that was a dope show. If you're into hip hop and especially West Coast hip hop, man, it was a dope show. It was a dope interview. Shout out to him for coming. But I want to get into this, man, this whole year, Kamar. Mm-hmm. 2021 was a crazy year, man. I mean, all kinds of things happened. We're going to try to talk about them. I try to present this on different levels, right? Like, so I want to talk about some political things that happened. I want to talk about some things that happened in our culture as far as being black people. I want to talk about some things that happen, with entertainment. And also I want to talk about some holistic things. And that's kind of like your lane, how you get down. I see you. I see you, Earl Henning. Oh yes, we're gonna talk about that. Of course, I said that's what I said. We're gonna talk about a lot of political things, some socioeconomic things, and we're gonna talk about some of the people that we lost. It's ironic that I start the show off by talking about losing a family member. Rest in peace to Johnny Anderson, or as we call him, Little Johnny. But yeah, man. So what was 2021? Okay, let's start off right there. 2021 was the year that the world opened back up, so to speak, right? Like, so we were coming off this almost 2 year quarantine from COVID. And the crazy thing is, if you look back, like, and by us being back up on our YouTube, Kamar, you see the shows that we did before, in which the studio was open, and I was here with a bunch of people in the studio all the time, and we were all together, and then that vanished, and then we had to figure out other ways to do the show. So we went to Zoom. Now we're doing it through how we do it now with StreamYard. But things change. Like, a new normal came, right? Now, I'm one of those people who said that I wasn't bothered by the quarantine. I was actually cool with it. I think it gave us a lot of time to reflect and do some introspective inventory. Some of us, they said, divorce went up, relationships broke up, people, violence went up. So they say, so this quarantine, man, it changed the world. And I think if in the future, when we look back historically, we'll say, wow, what a time that the whole world shut down. But 2021 was the world reopened, right? Like, so businesses went back, opened back up, professional sports, a lot of things that were shut down came back, right? The vaccination became prevalent. Like, and so we talk about this vaccine, and I've heard so many different explanations for this vaccine. Once again, if you have an opinion or if you have something to say, give us a call or just
Hey,
chime in
I
the
got
chat
a, I
room.
got a, I got a, I got a recent formulated opinion.
Okay, go ahead, pop it.
There's no such thing as fully vaccinated.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's
Talk
that's
about that.
my new formulated opinion. There's no
Okay,
such thing as fully vaccinated.
right, right. Okay,
And
okay.
I say that because you got to get a booster shot. You can't be fully vaccinated if you need something else.
Big facts. Big
So how
facts.
about we just stop saying that? Can we leave fully vaccinated in 2021?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what's popping. I
Because
like
see,
that.
really what that's doing, that's creating division between us two, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? People talking about, oh, you ain't vaccinated, you can't be here. You ain't vaccinated, you shouldn't do this. But everybody still getting sick. It don't matter if you vaccinated, fully vaccinated. Ain't no such thing as fully vaccinated. When they said you need a booster shot, well, that threw fully vaccinated out the window.
Right. And I think the terminology came because there's two separate shots, right? So initially there was, you take the first one. I don't know if they said, well, you partially vaccinated, right? Because you make a very good point. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah.
really making a good point. Um, and I guess, okay, when you got the second one, now you're fully vaccinated, right? Like,
But
so,
then they care. But then they said you needed two. Like if you took a certain one, if you took a certain vaccination, you needed two shots.
right.
So you know what I mean. Either way it go, I mean, this shit just stupid, man. You know what I mean. And that's why I want to leave that in 2021. Can we stop getting on each other talking about you ain't fully vaccinated or I'm fully vaccinated, so I can do this and I can do that.
You know what, Kamar? I think that you made a good point when you said that it has become divisive, because I notice an aloofness. There's an attitude that people who have, now you got me not wanting to say fully vaccinated, bro. so people so people who are vaccinated kind of feel a certain kind of way if you come into their realm and say, well, I didn't take the shot, right? And say, oh, you don't have the right to not be vaccinated around me. You're jeopardizing my health. Now, I guess the flip side of that is what I've always been saying is that, okay, and all you science people, please bear with me, because I'm not a scientist. I'm not a person who knows the chemical makeup of the vaccination. But I'm saying, well, based on the vaccination, how do I know that you're not giving it to me? Because you've been injected with something. I don't, and I,
Right.
traditionally you fight a disease by putting the disease into your body so that your body can build up a natural immunity to it. So, and I don't know that that's the way this vaccine works. I don't know a whole lot about it, obviously, which is why I'm so skeptical of it. Not saying that I'm anti-vax or whatever, but I'm saying It has become divisive. And I do agree with you that we do need to leave that terminology fully vaccinated behind. I
Because
agree with
really, it's false now. It's not
you. Right,
even truth.
right. And it's not a knock on people out there who are listening to our Outlaw Radio who are saying, well, I'm vaccinated. They're talking about me. No, because we've long established the fact that if you feel like this vaccine is something that you need in order to feel safe and confident in how you move around and how you get your everyday things done, then by all means, go and get it. I'm not telling you not to get it. And I'm not telling you to go and get it. I'm saying make sure you make an informed decision about it. Just as everything else on Outlaw Radio, we don't tell you how to think. We just tell you to think, right? So yeah, 2021 became this. Now professional sports came back, businesses came back, people started partying again, in particular in the black community. Y'all know we got down. Y'all know black people love to party. We went to kicking it again. And it's always crazy when I see somebody in a club you know, or out and about. There's a few people with masks. There's people who don't have them on. There's some people who like forget it. There's people who don't even believe this is a real thing. People say this ain't nothing but the cold and the flu. And so opinions vary. In 2021, this is one of the hottest topics. Now, also the emergence of variants. That's the big thing. The variants. At first, it was the Delta variant, in which they said that, okay, this original vaccination may not or does not prevent you from getting it or spreading it, but you'll be less sick if you take it. And then the Omicron variant came, and they said it does not prevent you from getting it or spreading it. But what we'll do is we'll come up with booster shots so that you can recharge or re-energize your vaccination because it wears down a little bit. So 2021 again, here we go with the booster shots. And this is something else that's controversial in terms of this disease and how it affects everybody on our planet. So yes, sir. I don't agree. See, and this is the one thing. Just when I was saying, okay, maybe taking the vaccine wouldn't be such a bad thing, then they came with the booster shots, and I was saying, whoa, hold on, wait a minute now, wait a minute, damn it. You know what I mean? I got like, I was like, not really cool with the booster shot, bro. So it's an ongoing thing. I see Chantel Gwynn. She said repeated school closings during the pandemic. Our children are slipping through the cracks. Too many kids in the hospital fighting for their lives. Our children are our future. Our children are struggling with all of the deaths from COVID and horrible violent crimes. The vaccine is not stopping this. That's the controversy. The controversy that we see now is, do we now give this vaccine to our children? And that's what the latest mandate is that there's supposed to be a development of this vaccination for our children. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. I don't necessarily agree with it. Leave the kids out of it. If you want to be an adult and you want to be a human petri dish, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But I just let's leave the kids out. Now people say, well, kids are getting COVID. So what do we do? This is why we're going to talk about, and we're going to touch on this when we get to holistic, the emergence of the holistic lifestyle that has become very, very prevalent in our community, in the black community especially, and that's Kamar's lane. So I know he's going to have a good time with that one. And we'll get back to COVID. We'll talk about the kids, and we'll talk about the best thing that you can do for your children moving forward, because we know children are children. They don't want to wear masks. It's hard to play tag when you got a mask on, or it's hard to do the things that children are up on each other. They're grabbing, they're wrestling, they're playing. They ain't thinking about, okay, this person might give me COVID. You're in the home. A child doesn't choose where they go or where they live. So they're in the home with people who may or may not be safe, or who may or may not have this virus. So children, yes, they look like easy victims to whatever this is. So we'll see. We're gonna talk about it tonight. It's a whole damn year we just survived, almost. Knock on wood. A whole damn year, right? 2021 retrospective. Get with us. It's your witch doctor and the whisperer, man. We're gonna do what we do tonight. Kamar, like I said, I know you got a lot to add on this, because when we start talking about holistic living. But what do you think about the children? Like when we talk about our babies, man, and God forbid, because I think my sister Chantel Gwynn, she said it best. The children are the future.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no
Definitely.
tomorrow without our babies, man. So what do you think
definitely.
about the risk that all of our children are under with this COVID thing?
Well, yeah, it's definitely a risk. You know what I mean? It's definitely a risk. I think what we should be doing is trying to find, it's hard to get kids to do healthy stuff. You know what
Yes,
I'm
it is.
saying? So I think we have to find a way to make it fun, maybe. You know what I mean? To make it fun. We got to do some experiments, try to find out some ways to make kids like some of the stuff that's going to help boost their immune system. It's very possible. Um, we got to teach the kids about being clean. You know what I mean? I know it's hard when they ain't at home, when they go to school, you know what I mean? It's hard to get them to wash their hands every time they go to the bathroom or every time they get done playing with a certain toy or whatever, you know what I mean? But we just got to keep trying to drill it into them, you know what I mean? And somehow make it fun.
Right. Right. No doubt. No doubt. So yeah, man, and we'll talk about some safeguards, some things we can do when we get into that part of the show. I just, when we talk about this year, I'm looking back at this year like I do every year, and we do this show all the time on Outlaw Radio. We've done it for the last 7 years. Just a retrospective when we get to the end of the year. But we're going to talk about some safeguards and some things that maybe, can help us that exist as preventative medicine. Um, what else did we have now? Okay, so this is now we got to do politics, right? Because this was Biden's President Biden, Joe Biden. This was his first year as the president of the United States. Him and Kamala, whether depending on where you're from, Kamala Harris, first woman of color. I won't necessarily call her a black woman, but the first woman of color to serve as the vice president of the United States of America. The first woman, period. Correct, right? Well, this is the first woman. Okay, and it just so happened to be a woman of color, which we were happy to see. We went into this and shout out to Tiarsha Arthur. She said it's because people waited too long to get on board. We on to something new. I'm thinking she's referring to the holistic lifestyle. I'm thinking we'll see because when we get to that part. But so Biden's first year, I'm a voter, right? I'm one of those individuals who votes not because I believe wholeheartedly in our democratic process, but simply because I believe that you really can't complain unless you're trying to do something about the issues, right? Like I hear a lot of people complain about everything, but they don't do anything about anything, or they don't do nothing, as we would say, about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can pick and choose. You can whatever you complain about, you can say, but I ain't vote. That's your option. But if okay, you complain about politics, but you don't vote. You complain about the community, but you don't get involved in your community. You complain about the food, but you don't change the way you eat or look at diets. You complain about our health, but you don't in try to employ any kind of healthy lifestyle. I just think some people are complainers and some people are people who just try to get things
Definitely.
done.
Definitely.
Right. So that's why my people say fuck politics. Well, yeah, that for some of us that works. For me, it doesn't. I'm one of those people who say, nah, you know what I mean? Because I keep saying I feel like this country is ours. As black people, this is our country. I don't subscribe to the notion that this the white man's land. This is our country. To me, we're the only original Americans. We are the only race that this country, the establishment of this country, produced. So yes, I participate in it. Is there enough black politicians and enough black influence in our politics? No, no way in hell there's not. But I still so I voted for Biden simply because not because I believed in him as a politician and not because I believe in partisan politics. Because if you listen to Outlaw Radio, you know we are the party poopers. We poop on both parties because both parties are egregious in their treatment of our people. Okay. But I was tired of Trump. I wanted Trump to exit stage left. I was tired of the overt racism. I was tired of the Brody attitude that white people had kind of adapted to, adopted in their behavior, the Karens and the Bobs and the Bills or whatever you call them. Not that it went away, but I think that Trump kind of made it cool to do it out loud. You know what I mean? I feel like Trump kind of made it a trend, a fad to just act as racist as you possibly could. And I felt like he was perpetuating it. So I said, I'm going to vote for Sleepy Joe. And I understood people talked about the mass incarceration and the crime bill from 94, but I was alive in 94. And I remember what was going on in 94 in terms of the crack game, the crack epidemic. And I know that the black community was screaming out for help. So, she said, Tiasha Arthur said she was referring to when I said after I decided to take the vaccine, then the next thing I knew they were talking about booster shots. Right. Yeah, you're right. I did wait too long. And I didn't say I was going to take it. I started to say, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Right. But you're right. I waited too long. And by the time I jumped in, they was on to something else. You're right. You're right, TR. You're right. I waited too damn long. Right. Study long, study wrong. But so in Biden's first year, I just noticed his approval rate is very low. And this is what, how we judge how a president is doing his or her job. It's 43% of people that approve how he's running our country. Now, from a black perspective, we know as a black man, very seldom does any president serve us, right? Or do well. We don't really get anything, or any
Right.
politician for that matter. So it's not that I was looking for it to be Black People Day. It's the same thing I said about Obama. I knew when Obama got elected, it wasn't going to be Black People Day. Um,
Right. He
but
said, hell, he said it wasn't.
right. Well, he told us off top.
I
So
ain't got nothing for you niggas.
right.
But
Don't
thank
think
you for
just because
voting
I'm
for me.
black, right? It ain't sweet, right?
But thanks for voting for me.
Right. Yeah. But no, when I look at how Biden is running the country, I think there were some failures, and I think there's some things that he's done that may be positive if they're done correctly. Number one, the vaccine mandates that he's kind of jumped on board with, to me, are irresponsible, simply because you don't have enough scientific information. We don't as a public. Maybe he does. Maybe the scientists are telling him something they're not telling us. For you to force people, for you to invade their civil liberties and force them to take this vaccine, to me, is wrong. I think that people need to be able to make conscious, informed decisions. To start saying, if you don't take this, you won't be able to work, or you won't be able to travel, or you won't be able to do this or that. To me, that's wrong. As an individual, I disagree with that. So when I seen that Biden was on with that, I was like, nah, not really worried about his foreign policy. It's a mess over in Afghanistan and all that. America's been over there, shitting on themselves for a long time. And that's very complicated in what they do. And if you sign up for the armed forces, you probably feel a certain way about that. If that's your situation, feel free to call in 262-202-5131. It's the number you can call. But inflation right now is our biggest issue. Like the price of everything has gone up. Remember when it used to be such a thing called a value meal, right? And I know, Kamar, I know you don't eat like this anymore, but I don't know if you take your daughter to McDonald's sometimes, grab her something. Daddy, I want some nuggets. My kids, I want some nuggets. Like I'm saying, my kids, like they still babies and shit. But a value meal at one point was $3.99. The shit's like $9 now.
Shit, 15.
Right. Well, yeah. So everything's gone up. Inflation is popping right now. And employment has not gone up. When we talk about the situation in the Black community, which remains largely unchanged, our unemployment rate is still, higher than double what the white unemployment is. I still don't see, and this is a recurring thing for presidents and federal government. I don't see anything that really benefits people of color. Okay, you have a woman of color, but she's been largely unused. What is her thing? What is she responsible for? Her office has been in disarray. It's documented that she's unhappy with how she's been utilized. People have left her office. There's a lot of things going on in terms of her staff. So I'm unhappy with that as well. And when I heard Biden say, if you don't take this vaccination, you're gonna be sorry. That sounded like a threat to me. I don't take being threatened lightly. So, now the fact that he's trying to come up with a plan to replace lead pipe laterals in our country, I think it's a very, very, very good thing. I think that there's going to take what, $43 billion, $43 billion to combat the lead pipe laterals and the lead pipes in our communities across the country. We know that lead poisoning has a direct effect on cognitive behavior. So for a long time, we've looked around in Milwaukee and we said, what the hell is wrong with these kids? What the hell is wrong with Milwaukee? Okay, and we're gonna get to Milwaukee. Believe me, we're gonna get to Milwaukee. But there's some definitive connections between lead pipe or lead poisoning. Whether and the argument here was that it was the paint. No, it's paint chips. No, it's the pipes. We know
Add
something's
that, and
wrong.
you add the lack of nutrition to that. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I'm sure that number's sky
Exactly. A lot of things could be responsible for that, which is also something else we'll get into talking about this whole damn year.
high.
Tiarsha Arthur, she said Trump could have stopped the virus from hitting the U.S., but he thought it was a hoax. And he also removed some safeguards that Obama had in place for worldwide pandemics. He removed those. And Biden, she said he's trying to stop it, but he's getting information from the scientists. Right. And as a black person, if you trust scientists, good luck. Right. We just don't have a good working relationship with scientists and biologists in this country when it comes to us. Historically, I feel like they've, been part of the problem in our community. So I don't necessarily trust our government. Um, and that's bad to say. And I said I participate in the democratic process, but that doesn't mean I trust them. Right? Like it's like I might go in your store and buy something from you. It don't mean I trust you. It don't mean I believe everything you say or whatever you put on your package, right? So I don't trust what they tell us about us. When it comes to us as people of color, I do not trust them. So yeah, so Biden, let's do the pipes. Let's get that done. Um, let's combat the lead pipes because I think that's something that affects our community directly. But with the forced mandates, once again, I'll say it, and I know people out there don't agree with me, but that's fine. I don't think you have the right to force me to do something, right? I think you regulate, right? You don't mandate. I think you say, hey, Kevin, if you don't want to take this vaccine but you want to go to work and you want to travel, you're gonna have to take constant COVID tests. I don't got a problem with that. If you say, okay, you can go to work, but you're gonna have to get tested every week, fine. Because I
Hey,
want to know if
dig
I
this.
got it anyways.
Dig this. I went to the Dave Chappelle concert,
Okay.
right? And they made everybody, if you didn't get vaccinated, they made you uh take a COVID test.
Okay.
If you did get vaccinated and you show your vaccination card, you don't even have to take a test, right? But
Okay.
the problem is the people that's vaccinated are carriers too. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Right.
So again, this shit is all fucked up. You know what I mean? It's all backwards. I think it's all just meant to split us up, man, to divide us. That's it.
Well, okay, so think about that logic. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to be tested. But we just said, even if you're vaccinated, you can still get it and
Right.
give it to other people, right?
Right.
So
This all this information. This let's mention too. This is all information that just came out this year too in 21.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to throw that in there because we're talking about all the stuff that happened in 2021. You know what I mean? There's some more bullshit information that they throwing out there. You know what I mean? Giving us reasons to bang on each other and shit.
Yeah, I think you stand a good chance to win anything if you keep people divided. And that's the one thing about us as Americans. We like to choose sides. And it's always us against, everybody else. Um and I think people are like I said, people feel safe when they have numbers. You know what I mean? Like you feel safe if you can go into an argument or a fight and you got some people behind you. Say, yeah, let's go. It's hard. It's hard to stand on your own. Courtney Francois, what's going on, my sister? Shout out to Courtney. I thought Courtney was gonna be with us. She's in the chat. She said Outlaws for life, no doubt. The award-winning Courtney Francois.
Yeah, the
right,
award
right.
winning.
Courtney, who swept
Yeah.
it up. Now, so what do you think about Biden and his this year without Trump? How do you feel about this?
Say what now?
How
Repeat
do
that.
you feel about the Trump Biden's first year as the president of the United States? I mean, we got rid of Trump, so how do you feel about it?
Well, it's everything I expected.
Okay,
It's everything I expected, and I didn't expect much. You know what I'm saying? Coming from the Trump era to this era, from the Obama era, the Clinton era. I mean, it's all bullshit. Nothing ever went our way. You know what I'm saying? They never planned on nothing to go our way. So I didn't plan on nothing special to happen. You know, I'm like you. I wanted Trump out of office. You know what I'm saying? But shit, I didn't want Biden on the ballot either. You know what I mean? I didn't like neither one of them.
Right.
But we had to get one motherfucker out of office. You know what
Yes,
I
it was
mean?
true. It was truly the lesser of two evils.
You know what I mean? Exactly. And that's something right there. Like it's hard for me to pick an evil.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So I wasn't expecting nothing, man. I wasn't expecting nothing from a Biden this year. I mean, I didn't think he was going to come in and just start putting shit back like Obama had it before Trump came. I wasn't expecting nothing, man. Because I always said the agenda gonna get pushed regardless who in office. That's just the front man. That's the face of it all. That's it.
Right. And so I talked about Trump. I'm sorry, Biden's approval rating being low. Congress approval rating is low as well, 23%. You talk about checks and balances, which is nobody has supreme ultimate power in our government. The trademark of democracy is supposed to be checks and balances. It's not a monarchy. Like I said, their approval rating is low as well. And I think we get a lot of things, a lot of bills and legislation gets tied up in the House still because of partisan politics. I know here in Wisconsin, when we start talking about gun violence and we start talking about legislation that's created to combat gun violence, a lot of it's just lost in the House. You know, a lot of it's lost with our representatives because everybody's on a side for, oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, and meanwhile, the people who lose are the citizens. So I just feel like hopefully year two, because we got 3 more years of Biden, right? We got 3 more years of Sleepy Joe. I hope year two is better. And he lied about, a lot of things he said was gonna happen. We're supposed to be getting rid of student debt. I'm one of those college kids, right? I still owe the government for some of my education, right? And I wanted to see some of that debt forgiven. And we were told, oh yeah, it's gonna be forgiven. Nah. We were promised an oversight committee on what happened with what happened at the Capitol, the attempted, the trash bag behavior by the Trumpers at the Capitol. He said, well, okay, we're not going to do that. Now there's been a consistent stream of people being indicted for their participation in the attempted coup, the civil unrest at the Capitol building. You see people going to jail. I see the shaman, the dumbass white dude who had the Vikings helmet on, and like people are going to jail.
Yeah.
But Biden initially, and I felt like he was throwing stuff out there to get us to vote for him, just like he waved Kamala in our face, and said, "Here's a woman of color, vote, vote for me." And now, what is she doing? If somebody
our black women just went ballistic,
right? Well, somebody, and I have a section.
Fuck looking at her track record to see what she about. Fuck all that, right?
Well, a lot of us talked about her track record in California and what she had done in California. So, you're right. Courtney said you ain't black if you don't vote for him. Well, right. Type shit, right? Tiasha Arthur said people need to wear that mask and stop acting like they can't catch it. If establishment says you have to wear a mask, why not? Right. I mean, wear the mask. Like, that's something else too. Like, wear the mask. I mean, you can't really. I ain't wearing shit. Okay, well, you can't come in here. Point blank, period. I don't. If you don't want to wear a mask, I feel like you won't even do the minimum. Like, you one of those people who won't even do the minimum. Like, the house is on fire, and I'm like, give me your water hose, and you like, fuck that. Right? It's like, damn, dog. Courtney said, fuck the mask. Courtney, you got the right to feel that way. I feel like you should wear the mask. If they say wear the mask, you should wear it. And that's just to protect yourself. It's one of those things. Why this is a divisive issue in 2021. Outlaw Radio on a Tuesday night. We're normally on Mondays. My whole system was kaput last night. I don't know what the hell was going on. I guess it wasn't meant to be. So we're coming on a Tuesday. Normally we'll do this on a Monday. because we'll be on tomorrow night again. So we got back to back bumbles, Kamar, double bubbles as we call them. This Outlaw Radio, the whole damn year. We're gonna run down this whole year and talk about what happened in 2021, how you feel about it. If you want to chime into the conversation, the number is 262-202-5131. 262-202-5131. If you don't know what it is, look at the bottom of the screen. See that going across the bottom of the screen right there? That's the number. And there's a cash app there if you want to help us get everything else going that we're trying to do with our Black newscast. We're trying to tell our story the way we want it told. And in order to do that, we got to take control of this. We got to take the bull by the horns, as they say. Courtney said they tell me to cut. If they tell me to cut my fingers off, should I do that too? It depends on what's on your fingers. I don't know. I mean,
Do you got gangrene?
Right.
If you got gangrene, you should cut them off.
You should, but some people say, "Fuck that! I'm keeping my green fingers." Keep them, right. But you can't work at a restaurant. Okay, is that unless you're gonna put on a rubber, some latex gloves or something. I don't know, man.
Mhm.
Where does it stop? I do want to say this, and people can chime in on this. Kwanzaa. I want to talk about Kwanzaa before we even move on. We're gonna get back to we'll get back to the whole damn year, but I want to talk about Kwanzaa. I see Black people out here. I see big, large celebrations for Kwanzaa. I want people to know who created Kwanzaa, who conceptualized Kwanzaa. It's a brother by the name of Malcolm Karenga. If you look up Malcolm Karenga, you will be entirely disgusted by who he was. I don't know who he is now because he's kept such a low profile. I think he's a professor at a college somewhere. But here's a brother who was actually a long time ago. He came up with the US movement back in the 60s, which was a counter-revolution, which was a revolutionary organization. It was supposed to be something like the Panthers, but they ended up clashing with the Panthers, which resulted in the murder of two Black Panthers, Bunchy Carter and I want to say Mark Clark, correct me if I'm wrong, at the UCLA campus. And there's a lot of discussion about him conspiring with the United States government. I do know that back then, Jack Kemp, who was, I believe, a senator out of New York, was supposedly trying to get with all of the leaders of the left, the Black left. And so there was these conferences held, and supposedly Karenga participated. He was one of the only ones who did. He was also convicted for torturing two of his female members, burning them with coat hangers, beating them with belts and stuff like that. And even to the point where Karenga, now they say, well, Kwanzaa is Swahili, right? And it's based on African proverbs and principles. I've heard that. Maybe it is. Karenga meant our people no good. And I've even heard that he said that it wasn't valid and that he came up with it and he figured he'd put it in effect during Christmas because brothers and sisters are partying and spending money during Christmas. People say, well, Kev, you know what? I don't celebrate Christmas, which is also something that's fine. That's your personal decision. Can I separate Kwanzaa from Karenga? Y'all let me know how y'all feel if you know who Karenga was and you know what this brother is a traitor, or was at least a traitor to his own people.
You know what I always say, Kev? Fuck the messenger, get the message.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Fuck the messenger. Like all the holidays is fucked up. You know what I mean? We should be used to that shit now. Okay. The people who started them, all that, they intent, they motive, all that shit's fucked up.
Okay.
But with this one though, I feel like I say, you talk about the different proverbs that go with it. You know what I mean? Kuji Chagalia, self-determination. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, fuck the messenger. Let's get the message here. You know what I mean? Christmas ain't got shit good about it to say. Thanksgiving, you know what I mean? But we can really learn something from this though. Fuck him. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can really learn something off of this. You know, the different principles I'm talking about is what we can learn. Like I said, self-determination. We raising awareness about our own self-determination. You know what I mean? What we need to do to get ourselves up out this motherfucking rut. You know what I'm saying? We need a little self-determination in there. So, you know what I mean? Again, fuck all the holidays. You know what I mean? If you're going to celebrate something, find a reason for it to fit you.
And black people, I am not. If you're in the Kwanzaa, get your Kwanzaa on, right? Like that's every holiday that comes around. We have a healthy discussion about it on Outlaw Radio from St. Patrick's Day. We talk about St. Patrick running the pygmy Africans out of Ireland or whatever. We talk about all of that, right? We talk about Thanksgiving, like you said, the horrific actions taken by the colonizers towards the indigenous people of this country. You just said Christmas doesn't have any. I think that the spirit of giving, the story of the birth of baby Jesus, because I believe in the Trinity. I believe
Well,
in that.
see what
That's
I'm saying. We'll see
right,
what I'm
right.
saying. So how can you
But hold
discredit
on,
some
hold
shit
on,
with
hold
somebody
on,
else
hold
celebrating?
on, Kamar, hold on. So I'm saying when I say I believe in that, I'm called out, right? Like so. We as black people, we keep it real. That's what we say. We gonna keep it real. Go ahead and keep it a buck, bro. Okay, we gonna keep it a buck. So if we calling out shit, let's call this out too. Because and once again, I understand the African proverbs. I understand that you're right. The Kuji Chagalia and all that. All that's yes. Yes, beautiful principles. Okay. Chantel Gwynn said Jesus is the reason for the season. Right on, my sister. Hey, amen. The church said amen. Okay. But hold on, hold on. So I'm saying I don't hear enough people.
Because we could talk about who started Christianity
Well, hold on. I don't hear
and
enough
the
people calling
tyrant
out.
the tyrant that he was.
I don't hear enough people calling out Karanga. I guess that's what I'm saying, Kamar. When it comes to Kwanzaa, I don't hear enough people making the distinction. Like, and it's okay. I seen there's big celebrations. There's big kind of like
But
ceremonies for
does
Kwanzaa.
he benefit?
I don't know. Does he?
I can't see it. I can't see it if he can. I
Well,
mean,
you don't see him a lot. Period.
dude is really irrelevant. He
Can
don't benefit. Like
we don't know. I don't know if he does or if he doesn't.
if people go buy red, black, and green candles, he don't get none of that.
Well, no, but that's not his concept. That's Marcus Garvey's
Well,
concept.
it's part of Kwanzaa,
Well, that's Marcus Garvey's concept.
but
Okay, okay.
it's still part of Kwanzaa.
So you just made a good point. So what he did was he put together a bunch of different black nationalist ideologies, and some people say Marxism. I'm not going to touch on that. I hate that. I hate that when we talk about us being counter colonial in this country, you want to attribute it to communism or Marxism or any of those kinds of things. That's, to me, that's a dumbass conversation. But he assembled all these ideologies and he put them together. Maybe he made something good. Maybe out of this foul ass individual, something good came. Maybe that's the case here. All I'm saying is, if we're calling people out, let's call it all out. Keep it fair. So if you're gonna talk shit to me about, oh, Kev, you know who started Christianity? Separate the messenger from the message, like you just said, my brother. I hear people talking about Farrakhan. I never even thought, like, there's a lot of black people who don't like Farrakhan. And they say, well, Farrakhan's this, Farrakhan's that, but the message of Islam, in terms of loving yourself, loving each other, being peaceful, being humble, being a servant, it's a beautiful message. So I'm able to separate those things. We got a caller. Let me see if I can bring the caller in. Let's see what we got here. You are live on Outlaw Radio. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh my gosh, I'm on the radio. I made it. It's me. Just on the floor. Yes, it is.
Are you supposed to be here though? What you doing on the
I
phone?
know I got busy and tied up with some business. Now I'm just watching and calling like a fan because I am. So about the current conversation, I feel people should know the origin of things. A lot of people don't. Just I heard some on the radio, they were asking people the origin of Thanksgiving, and a lot of people just said, well, we celebrate it just to give thanks. That's what it's for. It's a day to give nothing to do with Indians and pilgrims and death and murder and rape. No one mentioned that. Just a day to give thanks. So I think we should know the origin of Kwanzaa or anything we celebrate. You need to know who created it, where it came from, what type of person it was. And I mean, if you continue to celebrate it, cool, but at least know where it came from. You know what I'm saying? Who started it and what type of fucked up shit came with it. You know, and then proceed how you want to.
That's all
People
I'm
need to
saying.
know that.
That's all I'm saying, and I totally agree. Like I said, Kamar made a great point. I think just anytime you look at something that's us. It's something that's for us, something that's beneficial for us, learning about where we come from, who we are. All of those principles and those ideologies are fine. But like I said, if we're in this business of keeping it real and keeping it a buck, and we talk about the murder of Bunchy Carter, we talk about Mark Clark, who were very, very important figures in the Black Panther Party for self-defense. As a matter of fact, they would have taken L.A. and pretty much brought what Huey and my brother had done in Oakland and put it in L.A. would have been much more. I can almost say that if they weren't murdered, L.A. the Crip and the Blood thing wouldn't have gotten as bad as it did in L.A. You can realistically you can say that. Bunchy Carter, if you do your history, he was a very, very important factor in South Central Los Angeles and Black Los Angeles coming out of the Watts riots. It's a brother from the streets who had turned things around and got on a Black nationalist level. And so by, like I said, by Karenga conspiring with our government, right? And it's one of those things, you know, and when we get back into 2021, the whole damn year, we're going to talk about revisiting this history. We're going to talk about going back now, telling the truth about history. And if we're committed about that, let's be honest and say, hey, okay, Karenga may or may have not been a piece of shit. He came up with Kwanzaa. It's his conception. Does he benefit from it? Kamar, to be honest with you, I don't know, because I don't know if he owns anything. I don't know.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
We could doubt it, but we don't know. But that might be one of the rewards you get from conspiring with the government against your people. You get a check somehow, some way. I'm not saying he does. I'm saying we don't know. So, yeah, Courtney, I agree. I think we need to know, you know, what we're celebrating and know where it came from. You can't just be up in the party kicking it and you say, who party is this shit? I don't know. Who house is this? I don't know. I heard it was a party. I showed up.
People do it all the time. So, yeah, you know, we just need to get the word out there, let people know the origin of things. And, you know, Outlaw Radio, I love y'all. Y'all my favorite radio in the world. I love y'all. That's all.
Hey, we love you too, Courtney. We rocks with you. Congratulations on your award. And how was the presentation? Did you enjoy yourself at the what is it? OMG award? How was it? How was that?
That shit was hood fabulous, you know what I'm saying? The Wi-Fi wasn't working, everybody award video got messed up, couldn't play. You know, it was hood fabulous, but you know, that's how Black people do. We do what we do. We be hood fabulous. We be dressed up like we all sell dope. We all have furs and shit on. It was good.
Right. You're a cheerleader for foolishness, right? I'm with that shit too. You know, I'm a little ratchet sometimes myself, so I totally understand, right?
Right.
All right.
Well, y'all can see you have the good in the show. Now keep watching. Love y'all. Y'all keep being great.
All right. Peace and love.
Peace.
So, yeah, however you feel about Kwanzaa, you feel you have the right to feel that way. I'm not trying to take your rights from you. Don't go say, I can't care for shit out. You said fuck Kwanzaa. I am saying fuck Karenga, not saying fuck Kwanzaa. Okay. I'm saying that because I've done a lot of research on who Karenga was or is. So, you know, like I said, I think he's potentially a traitor to our people. And I think he kind of came up with Kwanzaa and thought it might, and when he invented it, he thought it might be a financial pratfall for him. Maybe it didn't turn out that way. If it got y'all together and it wasn't no peace and didn't nobody get their ass kicked or shot, happy Kwanzaa.
Got a question.
Go ahead, bro.
If it came out that, let me see. Let's say, for instance, some heinous shit come out of Dr. Sebi camp about Dr. Sebi, right?
Right.
And he just turned out to be some kind of fucked up terrorist, you know what I mean? A traitor to us. Do we discredit this information that he done put in us, this energy that he done got stirred up in our people about health? Do we just say fuck the health?
I don't think so, Kamar. But I think you need to know about it though.
Exactly. Truth. It's all you gotta know. You gotta know what's real, no doubt. Right. I never said that. No one should know about the Karenga dude.
No, I know you didn't. And it's not against you.
I just like that's why I said. I just said fuck him. Let's just get the message.
Got you. I mean, look, a lot of people don't know Mahatma Gandhi was a racist. He's a lawyer in South Africa who give a shit about Black people. People still say, oh, Gandhi. Gandhi was a great man. No, he wasn't. He was racist as
Yeah,
hell.
right. And he hated black people
Right. He did not like black people at all.
at
Right.
all.
Right. A lot of people talk about Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator. He didn't give a shit about black people.
He ain't free black people. He
He
had
didn't
to
give a
do
shit about it. He said that he didn't believe we were even on the level of white people. So, okay, but then you say, well, let's separate it and let's separate Abraham Lincoln, who he was, from the Emancipation Proclamation. See, we start
You
going.
can't, cause see, he wasn't responsible for that, man. That's a
See,
bad example.
the rabbit hole is deep. The deeper you go, the deeper it gets. It's Outlaw Radio, though. If y'all got an opinion on that, y'all, if y'all like what Kamar said about, you know, I say fuck Karanga, big ups to Kwanzaa, but I also say I don't
I feel the
celebrate Kwanzaa.
same thing.
I don't celebrate Kwanzaa though. But that's not the only thing I don't celebrate. As a matter of fact, I didn't sing one Christmas carol this year at all, and we didn't decorate our home. But I did give my kids gifts. Okay, I did let them enjoy a holiday season. I was happy that my daughter was home from school, um, and I feel like we had a good time together as a family. My son ain't stopped playing his damn Xbox yet, so he's happy with that gift, whatever. So, I mean, it's just about me seeing them smile. It ain't about no commercial Hallmark holiday shit. I do believe in the birth of baby Jesus. People say, well, it's not supposed to be celebrated based on our calendar at this time of the year. I don't care. Let's acknowledge it. Let's acknowledge it. I believe Jesus was the first revolutionary, and I believe Jesus was akin to a Tupac, where he came here and he was taken before his time. Was he mythical? I don't know, but I do believe he came and delivered a message and led a group of people in a movement that enlightened us, and then he was gone. So let's leave it at that, right? um, Courtney says she loves Stevie Wonder someday at Christmas though, and she play that year round. Hey, listen, yeah, I mean, come on, like it's something about this season you like. I mean, so you say, oh, it's like when you used to see Kanye smiling, and then when he figured out he was on camera, he mugged real quick, like I saw you smiling, right? So yeah, let's get back to the whole damn year. 262-202-5131. Outlaw Radio, just running through this year. We Now let's talk about Milwaukee, because in 2021, once again, we broke the homicide record. Sadly, 200 people, over 200 people have been murdered via homicide, and the majority of those murders took place in our community. Um, but I don't. The violence in the community is a complicated issue. What causes it? Why it's escalated? We've gone to like great lengths on my show because we try to be solution based. We've had the Office of Violence Prevention. When Reggie Moore was in charge, Reggie Moore came on here and brought everybody from the damn office. We had a conversation about what the causes were. Shout out to Ray Mendoza and my brother Jay. And I know that there are violence preventers out here in the community. I think their job is to kind of prevent more violence when there's violence. We've seen a million different initiatives that we were told would combat violence in our community, which are supposed to make our community a safer place. I don't think any of them have worked. I don't think any of them have been effective. Um, and so we still have this issue. And now last year we shattered this record, and in 2021 we broke it again. Now the crazy part is this record was established during the crack epidemic, 1992, I believe, in which I was a teenager. E40 say I remember when the world went crazy. But it took 20 something years. I'm not a mathematician. Almost 30 years for this to be broken the first time, and now we've broken it for the second year in a row. I am open to suggestions. If you have a solution to bring the violence in our community down, I will. That's something and I think I speak for Kamar. Rarely do I try to speak for Kamar, but I think that's something we would both support. If you have an effort to combat the violence in our community that prevent young children and our young black brothers, we talked about babies, we talked about our children. Well, if you 17, 18, 19, from my perspective, you're a child too. You're still a baby too. You don't know shit. You think you do, but you don't. You're still trying to find your way. And by our young brothers, you got to look at it like this. When those young brothers get murdered, it's usually 2, 3 birds with one stone. The one who did it, the one who got it, and the ones who assisted with the doing of it. So we're removing, once again, brothers from our community. And the last thing we need is our black men being removed from this community. We have already suffered the consequences of lack of males, lack of positive males, lack of real strong black masculinity in our communities. So when we start talking about this violence, and I once again I know that there were sisters who were murdered too, which makes this even sadder. That there's a lot of sisters who were murdered and children. But when we talk about who it mostly affects, it still affects us as black males. And I'm old. I managed to get through a very crazy time in which they told me I wouldn't get past 19. You know, ha ha ha. I've doubled that. But I'm saying this violence, we have to figure out something to do. Now, with this, one of the most ineffective cogs in our leadership is gone now, Mayor Barrett. And this is not a personal shot at Mayor Barrett. This is a professional shot at him. I've been told, and I've met him before, and I think he is a very affable guy. He's not a mean guy. He's not a type of dude who's there, fuck you, get away from me, bitch, I'm the mayor. Nah, he's nice. He smiles, he shakes hands, and people say, I like him. He's okay. But in terms of helping Milwaukee, in particular, black Milwaukee, out of some of the things that ail our community, he was horrible. He done a piss poor job of it. 14 years, 16 years, whatever it was. As they say, throw a whole damn mayor out. I think people still say that, right? Horrible. Milwaukee is right now worse than it's been in a very long time. So he has chosen to become an ambassador because he helped deliver votes to the Democrats. And so his reward is, well, you get to go to Luxembourg. Now, a lot of y'all don't even know what that is, okay? Small country in Germany, nondescript, not really against us, kind of with us, real neutral place to go drink wine and eat cheese, whatever they do over there in Luxembourg. But he gets to be an ambassador now. He's basically going to be able to travel the world and do what he wants. And so we're left with these problems that he kind of didn't fix. He kind of fertilized, right? So we're left as a city. Now, the new mayor, until this election in April, is Chevy Johnson, who became the president of the Common Council after Ashanti Hamilton, who held it for some years, stepped down. We know that there was a division in the Common Council. Racially, they have been very divided, and I feel like that is the reason why a lot of things have not gotten done in this city, because they're just as divided as anything. I think they reflect this city. This city is the most segregated city that you can find in a long way, to put it like that. It's one of the most segregated cities in the country. So I think that they reflect us, and that division amongst us, white people not really want to deal with us and us not want to deal with them, keeps us kind of stagnant, stuck on stupid, right? Unless you are a gentrifier, in which you want to come into the black community, but you want to come in and take from the people who are here, right? So you can play liberal and come in, oh, poor black people, we want to create these programs. We believe, which is, and it's something else we're going to get into for 2021, because one of the biggest things was racial equity, diversity, and inclusion. We're going to talk about that too. All white people ain't bad, Kev. It's always one black person who says that, right? Like, all white peoples ain't bad, right? We'll get to that too. But Milwaukee, same situation. I talked about the homicides. I talked about the murder. The reckless driving became crazier this year, right? The stolen cars, the stolies. Our kids, once again, our babies, out here going ham with these cars and running from the police in pursuits, murdering themselves and others. One of the first things that Chevy or Cavalier wants to do, I call him Cavalier because he's little, like the smaller Chevy. One of the first things he wants to do is combat reckless driving, and he wants to do that. It's a mixture of things. You want to kind of change speed limits and put speed bumps and roundabouts, and you want people to be more accountable for reporting reckless driving. I feel like Chevy should have established a plan for the Milwaukee Police Department, first of all, because for a long time, we have had a very, very highly financed police department, and they're very ineffective at keeping us safe, right? The leadership has been just fugazi, for a long time. Now we got this brother who stepped in, a black police chief, and I will see what he's able to do with it. The Fire and Police Commission, which governs them, has been in disarray. That's 2021. These are all things that was riding in 2021, right? Like, well, while we was arguing over, Busy Bone and Gangsta Boo, this is the kind of shit that was going on in the background. We'll get to that too. We talk about culture on this show. But where are we? Where are we going for 2022? Are we ready to replace the Common Council? I shout to Tierman Spencer, my brother who's on here, the first black city attorney, who said they fight a crazy battle downtown. And I get that. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it. It should not cause you to be the type of leader that won't think outside the box. It's creating some situations where through this whole pandemic and this violence, it's not just a COVID pandemic, it's a pandemic of violence. I haven't seen a whole lot of leadership come from downtown, from the Common Council. If you're aware of something that they've done, please enlighten me. 262-202-5131. It's Outlaw Radio, the whole damn year, a 2021 retrospective. Kamar, what you think about this new direction with this new mayor, a black mayor? We got an election coming up. Lena has supposedly thrown her hat in. My sister Lena Taylor. Tierman said he may run. Norman, the sheriff, said he's going to run. A bunch of people are going to run. What do you think 2022 is going to look like for Milwaukee politically?
I think Lena Taylor going to be the mayor.
You think she'll get this?
Yeah, I think she going to get it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, out of everybody, that's the only person who I think is out there, whose name is big enough. I think Lena gonna be the mayor. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know what she planned on doing, but I'm just hoping she do a hell of a lot better than this cat did.
Okay.
Do
you think Lena can get the white vote though from the South Side?
I think without Barrett running, she can.
Okay.
Especially since the last race.
Okay. Barrett kicked everybody's ass for the past, 3 elections. And if you watch Outlaw Radio and you've been following us for a while, we used to be very politically inclined. We used to, at one point, we had every challenger. We didn't have any incumbents.
Right.
We had every challenger on this show who ran in the 2016, 2017 elections. And the only person who won was David Crowley. Which is
now I do. Now I also think if she becomes mayor, I think the Common Council may get shaken up a bit though, too.
That's the question that I ask people in Milwaukee, black people in Milwaukee, as black voters. Are we ready to stop voting for name brands and start voting for progress?
And see, look, I think we need politicians that's gonna be real like that. You know what I mean? And start outing these fucked up names. You know what I mean? You'll start putting them on blast. You doing the community wrong, we putting you on blast.
Like Karanga.
You know what I'm saying? Just bottom line. You know what I mean? You talking about somebody who's supposed to be leading the community.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we need to put you on blast, man. You trying to take away our rights from these vaccinations and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's time to start thinking about that. Let's go back to that one. But no, that was 2020.
Right. Well, we have to understand in terms of Milwaukee, black unemployment is still an issue. Our public school system is still an issue. Safety in the community is still an issue. We still have some crazy situations in our community that have not been resolved. And I can talk about Barrett, but a lot of these problems existed long before Barrett took office. And long before any of the sitting aldermen took office.
Hey, okay? But I think he was in office long enough for us to blame him.
Yeah, well, blame is,
because he didn't do shit. We could blame him for that.
Blame is enough blame to go around. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I like to see a plan. I get it that he came out, that Chevy Johnson came out and said, I'm gonna go at reckless driving. That's fine because if I'm driving down the street, I've been driving in through the community and it's like, damn, for real, almost getting hit or whatever. High speed chases, just driving, seeing cars turned over, people being murdered. But what about the poverty in our community? What about the homicides? What about the fact that our public school system, which we send hundreds of millions of dollars into, I believe MPS is right now, I know for a fact, they're over $1 billion in funding. What about that? That's still not serving our children like it should. I'd like to come up with a plan for them. And I know where you say, well, what can he do? Well, I think he needs to get with the superintendent of schools. I don't give a damn if you say who control. You don't control this. I think they need to get together. I think them, the chief of police, I think all of these individuals need to get together and come up with a comprehensive plan for Milwaukee. And nobody is the big cheese. We're all leaders. We're all going to lead. We're going to lead together. And then come out and give a press conference and say, I have a 6 or 7 point program. I want to establish a recovery plan for the city of Milwaukee. I want to get the economy in Milwaukee energized. I want to deal with the fact that the segregation and the discrimination in this country, I mean in this city, in this county, has created some dire situations. I remember the health department came out and the county has come out and said, well, discrimination and racism is a public health policy. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Now that you know that, what you gonna do about it? Is this another grant? I don't think that should be the case. Or are we finally going to demand that leaders lead? For so long, the expectation is so low. We don't even expect leaders to lead no more. That on Saturday Night Live they used to have that little skit, lowered expectations. I don't know if you remember that, right? I think our expectations are lowered. We don't expect the government to help us. Or I wouldn't say, I think help is a bad word. I think empower is a better word. I don't like the word help, Kamar. I like the word empower. We don't expect it. People say, man, hey, a public official just got caught stealing money. I said, shit, that's what they all do. What you think, right? Yeah. It's just like I call it the culture of dysfunction in our community, where when somebody's murdered or some shit's raggedy, we say, well, that's just how it is in the hood.
We should be trying to stone that motherfucker.
I mean, we should be coming up with solutions. We say, well, that's just how it is. That's how it is. It should not be that way in the hood. Okay? So I feel like that we're the same way. So moving into 2022, I would hope that once again we get back to this situation where there's complainers and people who complain, and there's people who are progressive and people who are out here trying to get things done. I think it's important that you ask yourself at home, which one are you? Right? I think I'm a little bit of both because I complain, but I do try to create solutions. And without going into specifically what I do, because it's really not something that I want to put it like this. In terms of me getting involved in my community and trying to help, my track record is long. As the old school cats say, it's an album, not a 45, okay? But I do like to bring awareness. And I do like to talk to our people about what's going on, because I think, like they say, knowing is half the battle. So if you're out here and you're trying to make a difference, kudos to you. But I'm talking to people who complain and don't want to do anything about it. Maybe the fact that you don't expect a politician to do anything to empower you and your community is part of the problem. Maybe you should start expecting them to do things. That way, when they don't, you can step to them and say, no. We expect more than this. We finna get rid of your ass. Hire your ass, fire your ass. I'm hoping for 2022, this is what we do, okay? As people of color, I'm not really concerned about other communities, other cultural, I'm not really concerned about other races. I'm concerned about Black people. I don't care about a community that's devoid of color. I'm worried about the communities where we dominate the population. Okay? So That's how I feel.
Hey, got my bag, man. I just saw Courtney in the chat room, dog. She's stupid, man. She said her contribution matches her criticism.
Right. You know, Courtney's an outlaw, so she knows. She know all the schism, right? So she in there. That's why she should have just been on, but she said she got busy. But it's all good. Same effect, right? Same effect. But yeah, moving forward politically, man. Like I said, I would hope that 2022. It's okay. I feel like some of my people feel like they're a sellout if they care about politics. I think it's enough room for you to have some understanding of politics. I think it's okay for you to say, let me get informed about some of this shit. Because when you blow it off and you don't know anything, this is how we end up in these crazy situations. I think what they say, if you knew better, you do better. Um, I think that's what we need to start a movement. Shout out to Chris Johnson, and with Kingfish MKE, and we've talked a lot about just creating awareness in the community, and just trying to get people to be aware of what's going on. Because I can step to a lot of my brothers, like I'm somewhat of a shit starter sometimes. Like in case you can't tell, right? Like I just like basically shitted on Kwanzaa and the Democratic Party, right? So time to time I start shit. I've been in barbershops and started some crazy arguments, right? Get brothers mad, right? Like, but when I talk to them about policy, they don't know about it. They want to argue with me, but when I say, but do you know about this law, that law, this legislation? They say, well, no, I didn't know nothing about that. But no, it ain't no but. It ain't no but. It's a mute point. Orlando Anderson is in the Orlando Owens is in the chat room. He said 2022 is a big year for Republicans. Orlando, you already know how I feel about Republicans, but if that's what you say, we just got rid of y'all. Y'all still here, right? Like God damn. Yeah, man. A whole damn year, man. Politically, what do we need to do in 2022, Kamar? Milwaukee, the black community in Milwaukee. I ain't talking to nobody else. I'm talking to black people. It's Outlaw Radio. We talk to our people. Where
Well,
you think we need to be at?
the mayor spot is finna about to get shooken up. And now it's time to shake up the common council. You know what I'm saying? We need people that's gonna fight for what the people want. You know what I mean? Not for what they want. We need more politicians that's sitting there that's not just signing these papers off and letting them go. You know what I mean? Signing away our rights to vaccinations and shit. We can't have that. You know what I mean? We need people that's gonna stand up on what they believe and what they want.
Yeah, I believe it's too much favor for a favor type shit going on.
Yeah, too much of that. Too much of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it for the party. Well, what about the people? People over party, man. All day, every day. People over profit. People over everything, right? Except for the planet.
I think our people ought to be able to run for office without claiming Democrat or Republican.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ought to be able to run for office, and we see you. Stand for something.
Yeah, more often than not, and I think that's what Tierman Spencer was talking about when he was on here. When you do get elected, you have to play a game.
Yeah.
You're forced to play this game. It's just the way it's set up. So you go in there with all this, you pissing blood and vinegar, and you go in there and you realize, damn, I can't get shit done. I can't get things done because I'm forced to play this partisan politic game. And you got a lot of brothers and sisters who play that game who will not support you in what you do because to be honest, they'll say, well, I know who's funding me. I know who my campaign funders are. And if I ride with you on this, they ain't gonna support me. Right? By humbug. Can I still say that even though it's after Christmas? 2021. Right? So we noticed, and this didn't just start in 2021, but I think in 2021, this became so prevalent. I want to talk about the holistic movement. I want to talk about the movement for Black people. And I believe that there's an increasing movement for health and wellness. And Kamara, I'm glad you're here so you can speak to this. But I feel like, and I know it to be a fact because when I'm on Instagram or I'm on any platform where there are celebrities, there are so many celebrities on this bandwagon trying to sell CMOS, detox. I've seen them talking about elderberry. I've seen all the things you were talking about here on Outlaw Radio in 2018. before the pandemic hit, before the quarantine hit,
All that.
Kamar was in here with this detox.
All that.
He was in here with vitality capsules. He was in here with elderberry before it hit. But I see now there this is the thing now. Like, hey, let's get healthy. What's the holistic approach? What's natural? What can I take naturally for my body to heal and to maintain my body that won't do the damage that modern medicines do, that big pharma's doing? So let's just talk about the emergence of this and veganism, however you approach it, veganism, holistic medicine. Talk about this movement for us, especially here in Milwaukee, because y'all strong up here.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think for the most part, 2020 showed us, how they jerking our chain. You know what I mean? They showed us how they jerking our chain. A lot of people woke up and started understanding how all these other pandemics, they've been starting all this shit. We've been getting lied to about the pharmaceutical products. People tired of taking medicine. They ain't getting well. It's time for new. It's time for something new, man. I mean, 2020, we talked about this at the end of 2020 on how everybody health conscious started raising in 2020. In 2021, it didn't stop. It's just growing even bigger. You know what I mean? You got people who really live in the lifestyle now. People who was just talking about doing it in 2020, really doing it now. It's a lot more people out here that's finding a way to make a living off of this holistic lifestyle. I say it all the time, man. Your lifestyle should be your pay style. People want to learn this holistic thing. People want to learn how to be well. They want to learn how to live well. They want to learn how to meditate. They want to learn how to eat right. They want to learn how to breathe. This is all a lifestyle, man. And these are all different ways that you see people in this holistic lifestyle making a living. And it's like I say, it's all about a lifestyle, man. If you live right, you know what I'm saying, you will be able to sustain yourself. And that's what a holistic lifestyle is all about, basically. Mind, body, and soul, wellness of the mind, body, and soul. And if you got all three right, you know what I mean? If you got all three together, man, you can't lose.
Okay, let's start with the mind, because
That's
I feel
right.
like 2021 was a year also, and this has been going on. And I don't want to say it didn't just start. Don't be an asshole. Okay,
Right.
we know it didn't just start, but more awareness has been created with mental health, wellness. I'm talking about Black people in our community, understanding depression, understanding stressors, understanding triggers, things that trigger you. Okay, and I talked about it. I talked about it on the show a couple weeks back, maybe a couple months. The beginning of the holiday season for me is always potentially a trigger. For me to see a picture of my mom and my dad, or either one of them, at the beginning of the holiday season, can be a trigger for me because they're both gone and have been gone for a long time. It can trigger me into a spiral of depression and being angry, but I recognize it. So I'm able to deal with it better now than I have been in the past. And I feel like that's just because we are more aware of our mental health now than we've ever been. Like, such a thing as biting off more than you can chew, allowing relationships to stress us out. I feel like we are more aware of, I'm not going to let that get me.
Well, you can't it can't bother you if you understand it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you understand it, you know how to get past that shit.
Or if you understand it, you're dealing with it. It's a progress. It's in progress, right? It's a process.
Well,
right?
to understand it, well, I mean, okay, it's different situations, different issues that we deal with. You know what I mean? Okay, I could deal with this certain issue on this level. Now, later on in life, it may come, that same issue may be on a much larger scale. But when I say understand, I'm talking about where we at right now in life. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so if it's an issue I'm dealing with and I understand it by this point, now I won't let this bother me. Because I lost most of my family too. So the holidays, every so often I have to kind of get back and check myself too. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. And that's only because I understand it now that I can deal with that. You know what I mean? I know how to reprocess it and handle it so I can keep on going about my day. You know what I mean? Right. But see, And that's what the mental wellness is about. Mental wellness is about having an understanding about different problems that we have. It's about gaining understanding,
and
raising
and
consciousness.
and part of that is like what Courtney does with the trauma is understanding your trauma. You know what you mad about, because you ain't just nobody's born mad, right? Like you ain't born depressed. You know it's not a natural state. Depression is not a natural state.
Right.
Anger is not a natural state.
Peace is the natural state.
That's a natural state, right? Like, so what are you pissed about? Find out what you mad about. What happened to you that's got you so anti when it comes to anything, right? Like, so maybe it was physical abuse, maybe it was sexual abuse. And I'm not one of those people who say get over that shit. No, I'm saying deal with the shit. Confront it. First of all, understand that if you were a victim of some sort of abuse, you're not in the wrong. Your abuser is wrong. You know what I mean? And we talk about black people say, well, I don't like I don't like cultural critical race theory because it make black people look like victims. Black people are victims. We are victims of American society, the way American society has been governed, and the way this country has race relations have been executed. We are victims of that. The slaves who were forced into those ships and brought over here and forced to work for hundreds of years. Those brothers and sisters who lived through Jim Crow in the South, the brothers and sisters who came up, who went through the abuses
It's
of the
crazy they
crack
say
epidemic.
that. It's crazy they say that because most of us still dealing with trauma from slavery.
Right. So why would we say, well, it make us look like victims? We are victims.
You know what I mean? The same person dealing with some trauma from slavery. That's why you arguing that point right now. You know what I mean? Because you still dealing with this shit.
Exactly. And we all are in some form. It's what is it? The saying is it's okay not to be okay. You say, hey, are you okay? And the person says, nah, I'm all right. We need to say, well, it's okay if you're not. If you just went through a traumatic situation and you would say, I'm fine, and it ain't bothering you at all, something's wrong. Right? I remember when my mom passed, the one thing that bothered me and annoyed me the most was people kept saying, are you all right? No, I'm not all right. You know what I mean? Like, it would annoy me. It would annoy me when somebody said, damn, Kev, you lost your moms? Yeah. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Let's, let's go dancing. No, I wasn't all right. So it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say, man, I'm doing all right, but I'm kind of down today. I'm a little depressed today. Why? I lost so and so and so. Or this is the date that so and so and so happened to me. Oh, because then I know, well, let me give you some space or be here as a shoulder or as an ear for you, right? So yeah, and so what was the last one? We said mind, we said body. Obviously, when we talk about
body and soul,
let's talk about soul, right? How do we get our souls healthy?
How do you get your soul healthy?
Yeah.
This is how you get your soul healthy. First, you got to understand how to feed your soul. You got to understand what's damaging to your soul. You know what I mean? A lot of the time when you feel irritated, stuff bother you some shit you don't want to do because it's some kind of outside pressure. Like I got it. Here's an example, right? Outside pressure. One of your friends' family member died and they want you to go to their funeral. You know what I mean? Now, emotionally, you feel like you should be there for them and go. But the truth is you don't have to go and be there and deal with that. Because, see, if you don't want to go, that's damaging to you. That's bothering you. You're going to be there the whole time wishing you wasn't there with bad energy. You see what I'm saying? So this is where your soul is getting fucked up at. You know what I mean? You sinning against yourself. Now you feed your soul. You do the stuff for your soul. You do the stuff that make you happy. You do the stuff that make you happy. You do the stuff that's good for your well-being. Like they say, self-care. You may want to get alone by yourself and not do nothing. You may want to travel by yourself somewhere and go take a trip. Whatever it is your self-care may be, you know what I mean? And this is what I'm talking about. And then you get into the meditations and stuff like that. When you talk about cultivating your soul, cultivating your spirit, returning back to that natural state, that natural peaceful state. You know what I'm saying? This is how you heal your soul. You get back to that natural, peaceful state where you happy. You know what I mean? And now, like I said, if you're doing something and you uneasy about it, that may not be too healing to the soul. You dig what I'm saying?
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, if we're talking about feeding our soul, we're talking about removing toxic relationships.
Exactly.
We're
Toxic
talking about
relationships, toxic
negative
activities.
influence,
Exactly.
negative thinking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Self-doubt.
You talking about separating. You talking about detaching from the physical shit. You know what I mean? Emotions, fucked up emotions, detaching from these issues, learning about those triggers you talked about so these things don't bother you no more in the future. You know what I'm saying? You're learning how to deal with these triggers. This is all good for your soul.
I think one of the biggest ones that we got to get across to our people is if you really want to work on your soul, start loving yourself.
Yeah,
Self-love is such a huge component of
definitely,
fixing your soul, right? Because
definitely.
once you start to love yourself, you want to see yourself get ahead. So you'll start to make decisions to say, I'm going to eat better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put myself in situations that are more positive. I'm not going to be forced or dominated or manipulated. I'm going to do things that help me fulfill what I want to do in life. But
Exactly,
that all comes from you saying, I really love myself. Now, it's one thing to say it, and people don't
exactly.
understand. I could say it, but it's
Exactly.
one
You know
thing to
what I
do it.
mean? I love myself. I love myself to do what makes me happy in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay. Now we also talk about divine path. Like I feel like I'm walking my path. This is my path here. I'm walking, man. I'm helping people. I'm helping my people. Every day I find joy. You know what I'm saying? Because I get to do it over and over and over and over again. You dig what I'm saying? I'm walking my divine path. So when you walking what's divine, man, you talking about that same divine energy, that same God energy that's moving. You know what I mean? That same God energy that drives this physical body to do what it do. You know what I mean? I'm walking in that path now. Man, my soul is eating.
And like I alluded to earlier, what I do for a living, what I've done for the last 20 years is work in my community. There's a lot of things I could have done that would have garnered me more profit, right? I could have made a whole lot more money if there's some, and I've been offered situations where I could have, but would that make me happy?
Right.
I've always been happy to exist as an asset to my people. So if you don't know where something is, or if you don't know how to get something done through wherever I'm working at as a professional, you can call me and I'll say, well, go here or go there or go do this or do that. And so, like you said, I feel like that's always been kind of like walking in my purpose too, is saying, Kev,
Yeah. Yep.
because Lord knows I've done enough damage.
Now look,
So
now let me tell you the way it worked. Now let me tell you the way it worked. You know what I mean? Like you say, you could have chose stuff that could get you a whole lot more money. You could have been, I could have too. You know what I'm saying? But the way it works is what you love is what's gonna pay you enough to live bigger than you ever dreamed. You know what I mean? That's just how it worked, man, because you walking in that path. You following that God energy.
right. And so for you people out there, like I said, you complain. And it don't even have to be about you complaining about the community. It could be about you just complaining about what's going on in your own personal life. Are you doing things that will help you get past it? Are you complaining about how you're being treated in a relationship without leaving that relationship or mending that relationship? It can be counterproductive. So, like I said, a whole damn year, 2021, a retrospective. We were talking about the emergence of the holistic movement. You see more Black people now exploring the vegan option. You see more Black people now talking about taking CMOS in some form, one way or another. Kamar has the Vitality, he has the capsules, He has the raw sea moss, a bunch of different ways because this provides, according to him, the minerals that are needed for your body to maintain a healthy balance. Correct?
Hey, look, hey, and the only reason we see a lot more of our people doing this, you know what I'm saying, is because we breaking those curses from slavery in which people was talking about. It's the trauma. We can't, we ain't victims. We ain't victims. And no, we understand that we was victims, and that's why we making this change now. We breaking that curse. We breaking that shit, and we trying something new now. You know what I mean? Just like we talk about with the Common Council. Like, goddamn, this shit's been the same for all these years. Why not try something new now?
Right. Yeah, our leadership is definitely. If the leadership has not been working, then why not bust the status quo and get new leaders? Like it's like if you got a car and this car is always broken down. No matter how much money you put in this car, no matter how much maintenance, you can't really go nowhere, and it doesn't serve its purpose because it's always broken down. Do you keep the car or do you get another one? It's a question you have to ask yourself. And I think it applies to everything else in life. One of the other things that goes along with the holistic approach and what you all do is the rise of Black entrepreneurship. 2021, and if I'm quoting my research correctly, the amount of Black entrepreneurs is almost three or four. The funding for Black entrepreneurs is 3 or 4 times what it was last year, because more and more Black people are saying, you know what, I'm tired of being a customer. I'm tired of being a consumer. I want to be an owner. I'm tired of being an employee. I want to be an employer. Um, and I want people to understand that entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily start with, okay, I got $5 million to start a business. Some of the greatest companies in this country, Microsoft, Amazon, all these started in a garage. Apple started very small with somebody's idea, somebody's dedication to their passion.
Hey, I
Somebody
started.
saying,
I started with a half ounce of sea moss powder.
exactly. You see what I'm saying? I started Outlaw Radio on a house phone with some customer service headsets plugged into it. Right?
In a
But
boom box.
right. Well, I'm not saying that I've blown up, but I'm saying after
Hey, in a
being
boom box.
well, just not just being dedicated to it and just chasing my passion, I think it's safe to say it's evolved over the
Definitely.
years to where it is now. So if you believe it, as they say, if you believe it, you can achieve it. And I think that's the ground, that's the basement for Black entrepreneurship. Saying I have a passion for cooking, I have a passion for providing consumer goods to my people. I have a passion for helping people, whether I'm a nurse, a social worker, whatever it is that I do. I have a passion for this. You said it. Let your passion be your pay, right?
Yeah.
I'm making somebody else a bunch of money doing this, and I'm so good at it that I could do this and pay myself to do it. That is the spirit. That is due for self. And I
That's
feel like
it.
2021, you see more and more Black businesses, more and more Black people saying, "Hey, I got this little business, right?" And we're assisted by the internet. We're assisted by social media because it's easier now to get you a logo and promote your business. Not saying because if you
Hey,
got a business and you only want to promote it on social media, it's not going to be successful. You got to do the footwork, you got to do the grunt work, you got to get down in the trenches. But it's excellent to create
remember,
awareness for what you're doing.
remember years ago, it used to be a lot of Black corner stores and gas stations around the city and stuff like that.
Right.
It's coming back to that. You know, like you say, we seeing the entrepreneurship rising, you know what I mean, on the rise. 10 years from now, we're gonna have gas stations, we're gonna have the corner stores, we're gonna have clothing stores, we're gonna have health food stores, we're gonna have health stores, we're gonna have herbal supplement store, we're gonna have all the stores around this place. I mean, we talk about evolution, and that's what the whole holistic thing demonstration is about. You know what I mean? It's about living right so you can evolve right. And you know what I'm saying? And that's just what's happening. You know what I mean? Black business is on the rise in a holistic manner.
And I hate to hear people talking about Black businesses. They just want to get over on you. They want to just get paid. Well, let me explain something to you. Nike spends about $3 per Jordan, and they charge you $300 for that Jordan, which is a re-release most of the time from 30 years ago. So you talk
Right.
about getting over. We talk about how many products you buy that are manufactured out of this country, in which they don't have the labor laws, in which they can have child laborers, sweatshop labor, where they can make a product for under $10 and sell it to you for over 30, right? The markup on most consumer products is ridiculous if you do your research. So don't let that be the reason you don't support a black business. They trying to get over. They cost too much. They want too much. Okay. Sometimes you got to do research into what you're buying and what you're paying for. So let's be smart. Once again, in 2022, let's continue to explore our entrepreneurial spirit. I keep saying integration, the side effect of integration was the destruction of the black economy and the black
Mm-hmm.
community, right? And even your boy, we say Martin Luther King was his rap name. His name was Michael King. He even said he led us into a burning house, right? Do your research. Know about that. 262-202-5131.
Mama call him Michael. I'm gonna call him Michael.
Right. Man, Michael King was a hell of a man, right? Michael King Jr. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, that's the joke that never ends, right? And because it's based on so much fact. And like I said, critical race theory became big news in 2021, and the 1619 project, and people going back looking and saying, let's talk about what really happened in this country. Let's talk about slavery, how it was really executed. I keep telling people, let's look at the legalities of it. If you don't understand the law, then you don't understand how they were able to do this legally. A lot of the things that they do to us is based on loopholes. You talk about redlining. You talk about all these kinds of legal things that they were able to do to us legally, and we stop. We thought it was a moral thing. How could you do that to us? Because it's legal. Because I'm allowed to. Right? I don't have to answer the morality question if the law justifies my actions.
Right.
Right? I don't have to.
Slavery was legal
For a very long time, right? Until your boy Abraham said, damn. What we gonna do?
Man, we gotta let these niggas go.
I don't like it no more than you do, but god damn it, it's tearing us apart. So yeah, 20. Let's keep that spirit going too. Let's continue. That's why you heard me talk about Karanga, the creator of Kwanzaa. This is why anytime we talk about anything on this show, we talk about where did that come from? Who said that? Who wrote that? Who created that? What was the purpose for it? What was the intent? Like we go to Planned Parenthood and we'll go, I'm going to Planned Parenthood and get some rubbers. Or I'm going to get some birth control. Not understanding that Margaret Sanger, who established Planned Parenthood, one of the reasons she established it was to deal with what they call the Negro problem. And she believed that poor black women should be sterilized and not be able to have children. You got to know. You got to be aware. You can't be no square. Can't be no square, right? So just know. Let the mantra of 2022 be, I need to know better. I got to figure this out. Another thing we have a problem with is saying, I don't know. I don't know. Somebody asks you a question, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. You have no excuse not to know anything as long as you got a damn cell phone. Because you can go to Google. People say, well, Google be lying too. It'll give you a start to your research. Take what you know from Google and extend the research. Don't accept what Google says either. Research the researcher. That's the name of the game. That's how you get smarter. That's how you get better. Now we talk about professional sports. We talk about the in 2021, we talk about the pandemic and how it's affected professional sports. The salaries are crazy. Colin Kaepernick still has no job. The professional sports organizations are owned, operated, and maintained by racist people. Elitism is rampant. The rich white boy club in the NFL remains untouched. But I want to talk about it on a different level.
Bucks won a championship.
Huh?
The Bucks won a championship.
Well, yeah, that's of course in Milwaukee. Yes, the Bucks in 6, right? Bucks won the championship
Bucks
first time in 50 years, right?
Bucks
Something we thought would never happen, right? We never thought we'd see it.
Bucks in 6.
Right. But
hey, listen, man, and I'm a strong believer to believe they could do it again.
It's I mean, they playing winning basketball. They playing with a team that wants to win, so we'll see. Even if they don't, I'll be able to say I was there when that happened and I saw that.
No doubt.
So for at least one season, everybody else in this country had to bow down and say, damn, in terms of basketball, Milwaukee is where it's at, right? But I want to go a little bit deeper because for so long in this country, the black athlete has been exploited. whether it be at the collegiate level or even in the pros, because we know they make millions of dollars, but most of them retire broke. Their long term plan for life after sports is not one that's really structured really well. A lot of them leave with decimated bodies, and when it comes to the NFL, we start talking about some of the brain injuries that they suffer. Their mental health is in jeopardy too when they're done playing sports. But the biggest pimps was the NCAA, in which you couldn't even take a free sandwich, but you can generate a university millions of dollars because you can run a touchdown and you can win a Heisman. They'll sell your jersey, and you can't even afford a sandwich. But you can look at other people, 100,000 people sitting in the stadium with your jersey on, and you couldn't get a dime. Well, in 2021, the laws were passed where finally the athletes can get paid. They can get money. They can make deals so that they can now be compensated for what they bring to a university. But one of the greatest things that has happened in 2021 was the emergence of HBCU athletics. Okay. Now you have 5-star recruits going to HBCUs. And I got to give Deion Sanders credit for bringing a spotlight to Jackson State and just really bringing attention to Jackson State football. So athletes now are saying, hey, I want that kind of shine. Shit, I can go there. Instead of going making Baylor $1 million, I can go to Jackson State and get paid off my jersey and make money and make deals and go to a black college. Now what you see these white schools, their knees are shaking. There's a transfer portal in the NCAA in which now young brothers can say, I don't like this shit. I'm up. I'm leaving. You won't get no money off me. And for a long time, these white coaches, they controlled and ruined brothers' lives just because I don't like him. I don't like her. But brothers and sisters now have way more choices when it comes to sports. You get a little bit more control. But I'm so happy to see all these 5-star recruits going to HBCUs because I've often said, once again, this is an integration thing. When NFL wasn't actively drafting black players from white universities wasn't allowing us in their universities, they went to black colleges. This is how Eddie Robinson and a lot of legendary black coaches have so many Hall of Fame NFL players that weren't even drafted, but just got a shot. And where'd you go? I went to Grambling. I went to Southern. I went to Howard. I went to Hampton. They went to these places because the white universities wouldn't admit them. They went to the NFL and became Hall of Famers. So instead of us giving shine, and a lot of these universities were established and still are filled with and run by racist entities who don't give a shit about black people. You can go to University of Wisconsin and they say that education is worth so much. It's a minimal minority population up there. They don't give a shit about you. But what we should be doing is saying, let's do our own then. Let's go to Florida A&M. Let's go to Southern. Let's go to Grambling. Let's go to Central State. Let's go to all these black Kentucky State, Bowie State, whatever, Norfolk State, whatever have you. Let's go to black colleges then. And if I'm $1 million athlete, I'm still going to get that same shine. I'm still going to get to the NFL. I'm still going to get money. And I empowered my own people along the way. So I think that's the most important thing. And I'm so happy to see these schools shaking in their boots. Roll, Tide, roll. Alabama, your ass is on the clock. Auburn, all these southern universities that wouldn't even admit a black person, let alone recruit a black football player, basketball player, your ass on the clock. Because the more 5-star athletes go to HBCUs, the better their facilities will be, the bigger their programs will be, the better their quality of sports will be, and then we'll start to go to national championships and big.
People gonna start watching those games,
buying those jerseys, right? Yeah. So that's an innovation for 2021 for me. All the rest of the stuff besides, like you said, the Bucks and 6 is just menial, right? Because we still, they want to promote our sports leagues as if, it's so we're so socially conscious. No, you ain't, because your ownership has not changed, and the way black athletes has not changed. So you're really not as progressive as you say you are. And Colin Kaepernick still has no job, and you're going to get bums out the gutter to play quarterback, and he still is unemployed. So you can go left with that. I think it starts with us being able to control the narrative in college, and then once we get to the pros, we're more empowered. I ain't got to be a slave to your league if I'm already a millionaire when I get there. See, a lot of the reasons that players in the league can't make moves is because they need that money.
Right.
But if you already a millionaire when you get there, you can say that's bullshit. We ain't playing this week. We ain't worried about the money, player. We ain't worried about that. We don't want help. We want to be empowered, right? So we get into the close. I know this show has been long, but we running down a whole damn year. 2021 retrospective. Culturally, and my culture in black culture is for me, it's black art, it's black dance, it's hip hop, it's R&B, it's soul, it's blues. Hell, I'll claim rock and roll and pop music too, because without our innovations, none of this shit even matters. Nothing move without our influence on it culturally. But I feel like in hip hop, sadly, one of the things that we had in 2021 was the death of a lot of rappers. I'm going to get into that at the end when we talk about people who we lost in 2021. Death and destruction and the continuous spread of negative messages and negative imagery still dominates our culture to a certain degree. They have the brains of our youngsters. They have influence on our youngsters. And I want us to keep pushing the narrative that some of the things that we're listening to and we're partying to, you just driving to work, listen to the Breakfast Club, and you listen to the music, and every other song is about yeah, bitch, yeah, hoe, or shoot that nigga, or bust his head, or shoot up his house, or pop these pills and drink that lean. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm a cheerleader for foolishness. I like a party every now and then, have a drink, have a smoke, whatever, what have you. But anytime this becomes destructive behavior, anytime it becomes counterproductive to your community, it's an issue. And we still deal with that because we have yet to own our culture the way we should. I think the emergence of podcasts, internet radio, our freedom of speech is being explored. And I think in 2021, one of the biggest cultural impacts is the ability to get this microphone, this camera, and this internet and do my thing, and for you to be able to do your thing. This is why I never hate on other brothers and sisters who have podcasts or shows and say, "Oh man, fuck them." What to do? I'm not gonna say our shit's not better than yours because in my mind I believe it is. But I believe you deserve the right to do what you do, and I cheerlead you. And if you call me for support or advice, if I can help you in any way, I will, because it's important for us to know that the mainstream media is garbage and it misrepresents us. And the mainstream culture is garbage and it misrepresents us. Some of the best music, some of the best art, some of the best things you'll find culturally are underground movements. And this is where most of our shit started from, anyways. So when we talk about hip hop, we got to get back to underground hip hop without the influence of corporate entities. And then they can't just sell our young ladies on narratives of you got to have your ass out and you got to use your sex in order to get where you need to be in life. We don't. That's okay if you like that music. I said I think Megan is clever, and I think 2021 represents a year where women in hip hop were empowered more so than ever, because the women have kind of taken the game. They've kind of stepped up and said, "Nah, female rappers now are more prominent than they've ever been." And I'm a hip hop fan from the beginning of it, so I know I've watched it go through a bunch of different phases. The sisters right now is in the game serious. They running the game. Black women are empowered. There's more movements for black women now than there's ever been culturally. I was a fan of the show Insecure. I don't know if you've ever watched it. It's a great show. Issa Rae, great show. It just ended last Sunday was the last episode after 5 years. And I thought it told the story of black women and black men, young, getting out of school, trying to find your way, dealing with relationships. I thought it done a great job. It wasn't a whole lot of exploitation in it. It wasn't about, somebody being on crack or somebody being a whore. It was about young black professional progressive people trying to establish themselves, about the difficulties in our relationships because of our personal hangups, because of our personal issues. It was on HBO. It's Insecure. It's 5 years. Great show. Funny, heartfelt, very well written. Issa Rae deserves a lot of credit for the way she portrayed each character. And I'm glad that they ended on a happy note. If you watch it and you follow, and I know people are like, yeah, if you watch that shit. I loved Insecure, one of my favorite shows. And it wasn't all about gay, because everything else that they sell us now is gotta have gay, gotta have gay. There were some gay people in it. But it wasn't just about gay, black, gay, black. It was about black people, period, just all across the board. And I'm glad that it ended the way it ended. I felt like that she done her characters justice. So, but culturally, The verses, the hip hop, our music, once again, steps to the forefront. Whether it's controversial, your favorite rapper against your favorite rapper. But who controls verses now? Will it maintain its artistic integrity into 2022? I hope so. I wasn't happy to see Bone Thugs and Triple Six Mafia fight, but I do understand that as a man, when another man invites you to his privates, it's fight or flight, baby. You got to choose or lose. That's not something we take as brothers very lightly. You can't say that to me, bro. It's gonna be my brother say we're gonna have to move some furniture in this room. It's not something we should do. But I think we need to still hopefully celebrate the positivity in hip hop. The spirit of hip hop is a positive thing. It's us communicating with ourselves in our own language sonically over the music that we want to hear. And up to this point, we kind of sold it, we kind of bastardized it. But I hope in 2022 it gets back closer and closer to its essence, the soul of it, the creativity of it, the energy of it, the ability to spread influence and to be able to utilize that for something positive and create a vibe in the community, right? So culturally. Now we know in 2021 we also had some bang 'em up trials. Got to pay attention to the criminal justice system. Um, we had some crazy trials. We had the Chauvin trial from George Floyd. He was convicted. We watched Ahmaud Arbery's killers get convicted. We didn't quite come up where we wanted to on the Rittenhouse thing. Kim Potter, who killed the young brother in Minnesota, was convicted. Um, R. Kelly finally went to trial for all the crazy shit he was doing over the years. Um, and and some people say it was his verdict was unjustified. It depends on how you balance it out. If we look at what Harvey Weinstein and Epstein and all these guys have been doing for years and years and years, if we go all the way back to Hugh Hefner, and it's crazy that Hugh Hefner has been able to maintain his code of silence for whatever went on in the Playboy Mansion, unless we're talking about Bill Cosby, for years. But R. Kelly shit is all out. Um, so yes, Erica Veal, this is the last show for. No, actually, we'll be on tomorrow night. We'll be on tomorrow night, Kamar. So we're just wrapping the whole year up. It ain't the last show of the year, but we just want to do a 2021 perspective. Um, so and Jillian Maxwell, which is going on right now. Uh, will the real sex traffickers be exposed? Will the real disgusting underbelly of what's going on with sex trafficking and exploitation in our country be exposed? Because I believe she has the power to do so. So these trials became a part of 2021 as well. Once again, it's about paying attention to what's going on around you. Because like I said, Kim Potter tried to do the crocodile tears like Rittenhouse did, but she didn't get away. Rittenhouse, the verdict is still up on him. We know they're trying to make him a hero. I ain't paying the $5. I ain't going for the banana in my tailpipe. He's not a hero. He's a murderer. Shouldn't have been where he was. Shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. And the underlying thing about this is he was there with the hopes of being able to regulate black people. Just so happened that he killed some white guys, but he was really there, let's be honest, to kill some black people. So I'm still giving him the duck signal. So, and if you don't know what that means, look it up, right? So as we move to wrapping it up, man, let's talk about all the people. And I couldn't possibly, I looked at the list of black influencers who passed in 2021, and the list is so long that I don't have enough time to go over it, but I do want to acknowledge some. We lost Biz Marquee. We lost DMX. We just lost Kango Kid from UTFO. If you're not old enough to know who Kango Kid was or UTFO, go do your research. All right? The Roxanne Wars. And people say, well, that started the Juice Crew. And that kind of set up a whole movement in hip hop, right? And UTFO was that group for a long time. We lost Ecstasy from Houdini. We lost Leonard Hubbard from The Roots, who was the bassist. We lost Bell Hooks, who was a black writer, a black feminist writer. I'm not always down with black feminists, but she had a big influence on a lot of our sisters. Melvin Van Peebles, who was a pioneering director when we talk about putting the images on the screen that we want to see. Mario Van Peebles' father, he passed this year. If you don't know who Melvin Van Peebles is, go look him up. Sweetback's badass song, a pioneering picture. Without that movie, there's no Shaft, there's no Superfly, there's no blaxploitation movement, there's no Dolomite, there's none of that, right? Young Dolph, young black rapper, rich, doing for his community. I don't know the parameters of the beef that he had in his community. I know he was murdered. I just wrote drill music because so many young brothers and sisters from Chicago were murdered that were rappers. From King Vaughn to the brother FBG Duck, these were young brothers and sisters who, and I thought Mac Maul made a great point on the show the other night when he said that we killing them now without understanding that if they survive, they can be a benefit to our community. They could become someone who will come up with a solution or an innovation that will help our community. Paul Mooney, who, as controversial as he was, always gave it to you straight, passed over the last year. Paul Mooney was one of the. I feel like if there's no Paul Mooney, and because he wrote for Richard Pryor, if there's no Paul Mooney, there's no Richard Pryor, there's no Eddie Murphy, there's no Dave Chappelle, right? Shock G, credible producer. A lot of people say without Shock G, there's no Tupac. I don't know about that, but he was the first producer to corral that energy and give it to us on the record. And he had a lot of great music on his own. Digital Underground was a great rap group, and they were musicians. Shock G was a musician. He was a master pianist, if you know it or not. Black Rob, another rapper who basically fell victim to his own demons. And we think that when you become this rapper and you're getting this money and you out here, you good for life. But if your paperwork ain't set up right, if your contracts ain't right, you won't be good because you're only gonna be popular for a minute. It goes and it comes. You got to have something in the tank for a rainy day. So rest in peace to that brother. Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys. People just overlook the Fat Boys and their contribution to hip hop. We talk about Run DMC, Houdini. We talk about all these great groups. People want to leave the Fat Boys out. At one point, the Fat Boys was the biggest thing in hip hop. Movies, records, commercials, all kinds of stuff. Prince Marky D was one of the founders of the Fat Boys. He passed this year. And last but not least, and this is, I'm saying this, and I've already acknowledged my brother, my cousin Johnny Anderson, who passed. Rest in peace to Cuz. If you've lost somebody in your family this year and you want to acknowledge them, please do so. And I'm not naming these celebrities with the hopes that it overshadows who you lost. I'm just saying we lost a lot of people, and there's many more. Go and look. Yaphet Kotto, a lot of black actors, actresses, writers, politicians, people who started movements that we just take for granted today passed. Cicely Tyson, who I like to believe represented black women on the screen in a regal fashion for years past this year. Cicely Tyson never played a character that was exploited. She never played a hooker. She never played a dope fiend. She never played a stripper. Not if you're playing those roles, that's fine. But Cicely Tyson represented class when it came to how black women were presented on the screen. And she passed this year, 90-something years old. She lived a good life. She was also married to Miles Davis for a very long time, and she's responsible, in his own words, for bringing him from the abyss. So if you lost somebody to violence, if you lost somebody to sickness, however you lost them, it's okay for you to acknowledge that loss, man. It's okay for you to say, I'm not okay. I'm dealing with it, but deal with it. Don't put it away. Kamar, closing out 2021. Like I said, we had to move back. We had to look back to move forward. What you want to add at the end of this thing?
Shit, man. What's most important right now? Our health. You know, if you ain't got COVID, you got the flu. That's how it seems like the streets is right now. You know what I mean? If you don't got COVID, you got the regular flu. This shit is crazy. So, you know what I mean? What I'm going to add to it is to keep building on this whole holistic lifestyle, this whole holistic demonstration that we've been building on. Let's keep building on it. Let's keep going with this through 2022.
Yeah, man. And like we said, if you're not going to take the vaccine, get the elderberry. Do the things that naturally empower your immune system. I will say, as long as I was doing the elderberry and stuff like that at the beginning of the pandemic, I was sucker free. I got away from that, and guess what happened to me last fall? Came down with COVID. Kamar showed up at my door and left a bag. God was in the building as well. My wife made me a bunch of teas and elixirs, but your boy beat it. And I had all of the at-risk boxes checked. I walked away from it. As a matter of fact, it didn't even really get me down. It took away my energy, but I recovered. So if you ain't doing nothing, do something, right? right? If you're not going to take the vaccine, okay, well, let's try to eat a little bit better. Stay away from large groups of people. Wear your mask, right? Get you some elderberry, take some vitamins, do a little research and say, okay, what I need to do, because I don't want to get that shot. Do that. Let's stop complaining and start making sure we're doing things to assist or provide solutions, right? I mean, you have to think about it like this. In life, you can make some choices, and you're always going to suffer the consequences for the choices that you make. I think you have to understand that you have to change things that you can, and like Marvin Gaye said, change what you can, and what you can't, leave it alone. Just had a sense to know the difference between the two. I don't really ask for much, right? I try to do what I can for myself. I hope my people will try to do what we can for ourselves. But it's okay to ask for something when you need it. There's nothing wrong with saying, I need some help, right? Closed mouth don't get fed. So, like we always say, man, it's okay not to be okay. I hope you realize that. And I hope you are moving towards holistic health, mind, body, and soul. Like my brother Kamar said, we leave you tonight with the thought that you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And I don't really ask for much except for one request. I hope that when I'm gone, they bury me on my stomach so my enemies can kiss my ass. I'll see y'all tomorrow night.